I'm Courtney, the host of This Is Fine, Right? This podcast exists for the moment when you catch yourself asking that question. Is this actually fine? If you're here, something in you already knows there's more to look at. And this is your permission to investigate it in your body, your emotions, your patterns, and the way you're living your life. We talk about chemistry, signals in the body, lived experience, motherhood, and how all of these parts connect, not from a place of fixing yourself, but from understanding yourself. This isn't about you becoming the best version of you. Let's be honest. You're here because your body and mind already led you here. You don't need to be reinvented. You need clarity, direction, and encouragement as you stay in the driver's seat of your own health. I'm not your average gal pal. I get real, a little sciencey, and I'll help you learn how to work with your body instead of against it. So let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So last week I didn't have a podcast, in case you noticed. I lost my voice. I was trying to record and about 10 minutes into it, I was like, so not cute. So here we are, sound better. I'm probably still a little scratchy, but here we are. Anyway, so today's podcast. I didn't have this planned out, but lately with summer coming around, I'm hitting a lot of conversations around, I'm not ready for summer because I'm just not summer body ready. And what's kind of crazy, at least here in LA, is that it's been a really hot winter. Now we're in spring. Like, I am nervous. I think summer is going to be scorching. So, yeah, not too excited about that. Like, even though I'm a California raised girl, like I don't mind some seasons, but we had like a blip of winter. We couldn't even go to snow anywhere. I tried to take my son to snow. I was like, I promise you I'm going to take you to snow this year. And then he was like, what happened to that, Mom? You make a promise to a 4-year-old, they like never forget. But the attempt was real. It just couldn't find it anywhere. Anyway, circling back, summer bodies. So it's coming on strong, especially like spring break is happening now for kiddos and summer is right around the corner. And the types of conversations I'm having with these women is like, I'm doing all the right things. I feel like I work out like 5 days a week, and then I do a cold plunge and I do sauna and I eat all the right things. I feel like I eat all like organic and I'm eating protein, or some are saying like, you know, I'm vegetarian, I'm vegan, and you know, I just don't know why I can't lose any weight. I'm doing everything I can. And man, do I relate to these women. When I was younger, I was always an athlete. I played soccer and I was a dancer. And so I was always kind of in shape and I could really eat whatever I wanted. And when I graduated from high school and went into college, I still kept up with the gym. I ate balanced meals and what I thought was balanced. You know, still didn't know much about, hey, there's chemicals in all our food. But I stayed in decent shape, but I had to try really hard. It was like I was making sure that I was getting all my meals in. I was trying to eat healthy. I was eating the protein. I was working out 5 days a week. I was weight training. I was doing cardio. And I will say I never necessarily became like overweight, but there were times where it was like, I just can't lose more weight than this. And it wasn't at that point even about the weight. It was more of like feeling like puffy, like an inflammation type situation, or where I couldn't get more ripped and toned. And I was doing all the things. And, you know, then when I got sick, I started to realize how that all could have played into me not losing weight, how that all could have played into what eventually started to happen to my body. Of course, when I first started getting sick, all of this started with my skin condition, but also I thought I was in the best shape of my life when I got sick. Like I said, I was working out all the time. I was eating really healthy. But I also realized that even though when I did all of my digestion work, even though I was eating healthy and doing all the right things, I had realized after doing the self-testing that I do, that my body actually wasn't producing enough of acid and bile, which are the things that you need in order to break down your food, that I wasn't actually receiving all the nutrients that I needed from my food. So you can imagine, even if you're eating all the right things, if you aren't breaking down your food and it's going into the right areas of your body, it doesn't really give you the value in which it should be giving you, especially for somebody that's working out so hard. Once I realized that, I started to pay attention to like little things. I worked out pretty hard. I would be at the gym for almost an hour and a half. And those included things like cardio, running sprints on the treadmill, the elliptical, doing stairs. And then I would do weightlifting based off of muscle groups. So there would be my leg day. There would be my arms day. There would be my chest and my triceps day, like really segregating, the pushing and the pulling, which is a good way to lift weights. So all those muscles that do the same things are all working at the same time. And then you rest the push muscles and then you do the pulled muscles next. So you're able to go the whole week doing all of the muscle groups and they're all healing in their own way. So I was really into it. And I remember that sometimes, actually most times when I was at the gym, I would get dizzy. And I was always trying to figure out why, because I was like, I ate before I came. And then I would like have like a protein shake or something like that when I would get home. And then when I did the work on myself, one of the things came up was that I was electrolyte deficient. So that kind of sparked some interest into why maybe I was getting dizzy at the gym. Because if you're somebody who's electrolyte deficient and you are pushing that hard to where you are sweating your ass off, well, then that means you're sweating out all of your resources. Because if you're electrolyte deficient, you're not getting enough salts, you're not absorbing, you're not really hydrating. So when you start sweating, you're getting rid of the little bit that you got. So that was one of the reasons I realized I was probably getting dizzy. But the other reason is I am somebody that has low blood pressure. And what I have found with myself and clients is that most of the time, if you are somebody that has low blood pressure, you're probably struggling with electrolyte deficiency. Electrolyte deficiency at the same time. So if you are doing these really intense workouts where you are trying to spike your heart rate through the roof and you're sweating your ass off, you're actually just putting your body into this fight or flight state. And what is that going to do? It's going to drive cortisol, because cortisol is like, what the fuck are you doing? You need some rescuing. Now, cortisol helps out with all the things that need to come together to heal the body. When your cortisol spikes, it's like alarm, alarm. It's like your fire department. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just want it to show up when it needs to show up. But if you are working out at the gym and you are pushing yourself that hard and you are already somebody who is struggling in the resource department, your body's not like, hey, let's get ripped. Your body's like, what the fuck? You need to stop. And that will create puffiness, inflammation. So your workout isn't actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's actually just driving you hard into a stressed out state. So once I had realized this about myself, I had to turn it down. And that was weird to me. I was like, what do you mean I need to work out less and do less in order to be more in shape? It was so bizarre to me. And so I did. So I tried it out. I tried it on. I mean, y'all, I hate cardio. The only reason I like cardio is because I was a soccer player for a long time. And I was good. But I was a forward and I was a halfback and I was a sweeper. Basically, lots of run in the field. That halfback sweeper position, it's in the middle of the 3 rows of the players, and the halfback position is the only one that can go up and down the whole field. So I didn't mind running if there was a reason. Like if something is chasing me, I'm going to run. But if you're like, okay, just run because it's going to make you feel better and you're going to lose weight, I don't want to do that. So knowing that I could kind of take that off the list was kind of nice, but I was still nervous because I had this whole thought process that the only way you're going to get in shape is if you kill yourself every day. So I backed off on that a little bit. And then what I realized is that I wasn't gaining weight. So even though I had kind of turned down the volume on the cardio, I wasn't gaining any weight. So I kept up with my weightlifting. And during all of this, I started to correct my digestion. So because my acid and my bile wasn't working well and it wasn't breaking down my food well, I started to change my diet a bit. I removed a lot of inflammation type foods out of my diet. And then I implemented supplements to help start producing those things that I was low on. And I was properly fueling my body. I had realized that during my workouts, I always have electrolytes in my water. I don't drink naked water ever because I am just somebody that has lower blood pressure and I tend to easily become electrolyte deficient. I've always been like a sweater. I think about sweating and I just start sweating. So it wasn't necessarily shocking to me that I could somehow end up in this state every now and then. So what I started to notice, because I was able to test myself, is that my blood pressure was getting more into that average state it should be at, which meant I was less electrolyte deficient. My
digestion was stabilizing even more. And I could tell because when I would eat something like a protein, it wouldn't just kind of sit in my stomach for a bit. Like it wouldn't take all day for me to kind of process that, which is why I would lean into things like protein shakes and stuff like that. But because I wasn't properly digesting, even though I was doing protein shakes and smoothies just to try to easily get in to my body, that doesn't mean my body was able to grab on to whatever was coming into it. And smoothies process through the body very, very fast. So you think you're getting your nutrients that you need quickly and easily. But if your body doesn't know how to grab onto those resources and hold on to them, it's not going to matter. It's just going to go straight through you. So I really focused on having whole nutrition foods by making sure I was having my proteins, I was having my fats, I was having my carbs, because I had also realized that I was somebody who ran on carbs. There's carb burners, there's fat burners. Generally, you want to be somebody who kind of uses both for energy. But I was more leaning on the carbs side, which made sense to me because I was always craving carbs. But the thing is that being that kind of energy seeker is that carbs blow through you really fast. So I had to teach my body and transition my body into learning how to also use fat, including my fat storage. So if you are somebody who is taking your energy resources from the right places, naturally, I just started to lose more weight. I was doing less, but I was losing more weight because I was also losing inflammation. My body was learning to use my stored fat as a resource of energy. And I was giving myself electrolytes daily. So when I would work out, yes, I would sweat, but I was replenishing my body at the same time. So instead of my cortisol spiking like crazy and trying to rescue everything that it thought was happening, my cortisol was working in the right way to help feed my muscles and achieve the goals I was trying to achieve when I was going into a workout session. I wasn't getting dizzy anymore, and I would recover a lot quicker. Even that, yeah, I would recover a lot quicker because it's like I'm just realizing this. But anyway, because I would come home and I would have my protein shakes, which I also included with creatine. Creatine is very good for rehabilitating those muscles, repairing those muscles after you rip, you shred, you build. You rip, you shred, you build. That's kind of what happens when you are doing weightlifting, if you're doing it correctly. And so creatine is a great source to help with that lactic acid that's going to build up in the body. You know, that's kind of where the soreness comes from. So creatine kind of just levels that out a little bit. So I was able to do my protein shakes and add my creatine, but it actually did something to my body. It didn't just roll through me, because I was replenishing myself with what I needed in order to do what I was doing. So now I lift weights 2, maybe 3 times a week. And I started dancing again because I love to dance. And if I'm going to do cardio, damn it, I want to like doing it. Because, you know, it is good to, you know, strengthen yourself cardiovascularly, you know, strengthen your heart. But pay attention to how you process, so you're not actually like damaging your body. You're just kind of working it out and making it stronger. And so dancing's that perfect balance for me, where I go a couple days a week, and then for the rest of the time I relax and I use my vibration plate and I chase a 4-year-old. But I feel balanced, and I have stayed right where I'm at with my weight for like years and years and years, other than one of my old episodes you could go back and look at about hormones, when I had gained a whole bunch of weight because everybody thought I was, estrogen deficient, and that wasn't working out. And so I took estrogen and I gained a whole bunch of weight. But that's how hormones also will affect your body. If your hormones are going crazy and your digestion isn't also working correctly and you're not obtaining any resources, of course your hormones are going to go nuts. And that could be another reason that you're gaining weight or you're not losing weight. It's basically your body telling you, no, I'm not cool with losing this because this is all I've got. I got to hold on to this because you're driving me into the ground. So the message is, if you are somebody who feels like they're doing all the right things, it doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. Your body might need all of those things. It just isn't processing it the way that it should be. So it's really important. Maybe play around with that a little bit. Maybe start changing your meals around a little bit. Starting with eating an actual breakfast, not a smoothie, an actual breakfast with a little bit of carbs, protein, real fats. That could make a difference right there, because if you start your body in the morning, it's going to be like, okay, here we go. It's time to start working. Try something like maybe cutting off carbs after like 3:00. Try doing that. Maybe putting a ton of electrolytes in your water. If you're a heavy sweater, try doing that. Pay attention to your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is really low and you are driving yourself into the ground, that's not good for your body. Pay attention to if you're getting dizzy. Like, I missed that all the time. It was like a way of telling myself, yeah, all right, I'm working really hard. Stupid. But those little things can give you an idea of what working out and doing all of that to your body is actually doing. So don't get down on yourself for this. Don't stress out about summer coming. I mean, I know it's a great goal. I've been there. I wanted to have summer body, but honestly, it's more important to me to know that I am functioning properly and well, and that I'm doing the right things for my actual body. Because then when I start layering on those things and I want to maybe challenge myself a little more, I know exactly where I can do that, where it's actually going to matter and it's going to make a difference without me feeling like crap. So yeah, that's my whole thought process on this subject that keeps coming around. I hope you all are excited for summer and not getting so obsessed with what your body is going to look like, and that you have a good summer, and just be grateful that So I hope this whole idea of not having a summer body isn't getting you down too much, isn't going to ruin your summer. Just pay attention to the little things. Don't be afraid to make these little tweaks. Don't think that if you lay back or lay off a little bit that you're considered lazy or less productive. Just consider that maybe it's just a little much. Maybe it's just a little much right now. And maybe all you need is to change your habits a little bit, or I'm always open to be working with you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Maybe we could figure out some things that you can adjust, or maybe it's also figuring out your physiology. How is your body functioning? And that maybe when we can correct something like that, you can go back to working out as hard as you are, and it's actually going to make a difference. So it all comes down to what you're doing to your body, what you're giving to your body, and what your body is doing with all of those things and what it's capable of doing. So, yeah, happy summer. Bye, guys.
If something in today's episode resonated, you're always welcome to stay close. I write weekly letters and offer one-on-one support for people who want to understand their body more deeply, so they can keep listening, keep responding, and keep moving forward with clarity. My work is about helping you become your own healer in a way that's grounded in real life. All the links are below, and I'll see you next time.